Greetings from Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. A show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So, this is the episode number 24 of my strange Fascinations. Today we're doing something that I really like a lot. We're talking about a group of people here that I really like a lot, and their music I love a lot too. So we're down to about the last 7 or so episodes, so you're going to get a lot of really influential and people have had impact on my life, and this band has won a bigger impact on my life, and we're talking about Styx. So I discovered Styx as part of a group of 4 bands that I discovered within a few weeks of each other. When I say discovered, I mean like got into them. I'm not talking about I knew of them, because I knew of Styx before this, and I knew of the other 3 bands, Queen, Black Sabbath, and Rush. I knew them all before. I'd heard of them, and I've heard a little bit of their stuff in various different shows and stuff like that from all 4 of them. But I didn't really get into them until I purchased my first albums by them, and then the ball started rolling. And this band was a big impact for me. Initially, when I got the first album, which was this one, Pieces of 8, huge impact that album had on me. This band immediately became my second favorite band, with only Kiss being ahead of them. The harmonies on this were unlike anything I'd heard before. I had not experienced any other bands at that point with the kind of harmonies these guys had on this particular album. I loved the lead vocals from all of the members of the band that sang at that time. Most of the songs were kind of impactful in my life. They had some impact in my personal life as well. I also, at this point in time, was discovering that I could sing a little bit too, so I started listening and singing some of the stuff that they did. Always with me, it's always about imitation. I always tried to imitate their voices and try to get them right. Some of them were a little easier. Obviously, Dennis DeYoung had the easier of the voice to imitate, at least for me, than the other 2, but just such a great group of harmonizing vocals, and a lot of progginess to their albums, heaviness to their albums. The guitars were fantastic, the drumming was good, bass playing was fantastic as well, and all that came together into some really notable songs, especially on, which this was not my first album, but on this album I loved all of the tracks, and this one I liked pretty close to. This one's burned out a little bit more than the Pieces of 8 album, but for me it's always continued with them. There's never been a period of time where I haven't been listening to them. Even during that period when I first moved out, where I had kind of moved away from rock a lot, I still sang a lot of these Styx songs, right? Then came the era after, when I started getting more back into rock, and I discovered this album at the time, along with the Crystal Ball album. Both of them I like quite a bit, and started listening to them more and getting more back into my Styx stuff. I had Cornerstone as well, and Paradise Theater, and a few others, and so they started building again for me. Enjoying their music quite a bit, and I had learned, of course, that Dennis DeYoung was no longer in the band, and that they had replaced him with Lawrence Gowan, who is a guy who I liked, who I discovered during that period when I first moved out, and I like him a lot. Like, he's got a really good voice. He fits into the band very well. He has a much wider range of vocal ability than a lot of musicians have. He did a song on this album, Crash of the Crown, which is their newest album, Came out a couple years back now. I think it's... Oh, they're over there. It doesn't matter. Anyways, it came out, I think, in 2021. Really good album. So this group is still making really good music, and the vocals on this album are really good. He does a song here. I almost thought it was Freddie Mercury for a minute there. I had to go check to see if they hadn't borrowed it from something. But yeah, I sounded just like Freddie Mercury on that. Like, he has an arranged ability to do that. So, you know, as much as I love Dennis DeYoung, and I do, and would like to see him do stuff with the band again someday, that era is gone, and this era is good. You know, like, this album is really good. It's right up there with some of that classic stuff, and I still listen to them a lot. And the way in which they've gone back to the kind of more progressive stuff, more heavier music. Yeah, it's not the poppy shit that they did in the late 80s and early 90s that kind of turned me off. I wasn't actually around for that era too much. I was still listening to them a lot, but just not to that music. And so this album is great. It kind of brings them back to where they belong, I believe. Their last few albums have been pretty solid albums. This one, I think, is the best one, though. The only problem with it is, like I said before, it's a bit... The songs are a bit too short, I think. There should have been a few more longer songs on it. However, it's not taking away from anything they did on the album either. It's just great. But the influence of Styx now is that they are the ones that got me thinking more about singing the harmonies, and like the Everly Brothers and all them, like they have that harmony, and Yes now does that. Well, Yes always did it, but I didn't know of them until I got into them. But yeah, so a lot of really good harmonies here. They are, I'd say I've got a couple of hundred songs that I kind of sing a lot in this shower thing, is the thing I like to do, and about 20-25 Styx songs is in that range of stuff, and probably always will. This album made a huge comeback for me just before this album came out too, so I was just prepping myself for this album. I knew it was coming, so I started listening to this, and I really, really like this a lot. So much so that it's moved right up, probably in my top. It's probably my second favorite Styx album now, and it doesn't feature Tommy Shaw, but still, Dennis DeYoung's vocals are fantastic on that album, and the music writing is very proggy as well. I really like it a lot. So Styx throughout my era. And the other thing, which I didn't really want to say too much about, is that the song Babe, which came off the Cornerstone album, my ex-wife, let's get that right, because some people are confusing this, and I don't want it to be no confusion here. Ex-wife, not married to her anymore. We're not involved in any way, shape, or form, but at the time she really liked the song Babe, and so I sang it to her quite a lot of times. It became almost our theme song, I guess, for the two of us. I still don't mind the song. I don't. It's not the song's fault, but yeah, she liked that a lot, and so Styx was part of my marriage as well. I think the good part of it. So, anyways, Styx is a fantastic group. I could sit here all day talking about them, but I won't. They are my strange fascination for today. A band that has influenced my singing, it's influenced personal aspects of my life, was part of my marriage even, and listened to them quite a bit. Still like them. They're still putting out stuff that I like. They're still one of my bands. They're still in my group of 8 now, and probably will always be fairly high on that list. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of My Strange Fascinations. So please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back yet again tomorrow with another episode of My Strange Fascinations. We're getting down to the end. I don't think I'll be doing a series in October, but I like to prepare and think about what I want to do, so I may do another one starting in November. Anybody has any ideas that they'd like to explore, if I can do it and it interests me to do it, I will consider it. Trust me. Anyways, I hope you have a good day. This is Murph for Prog Monster. Goodbye.